right, let's go live. Um, Having a little trouble getting connected to LinkedIn. I don't think we're live on LinkedIn, but we could always share it later. But we are live on YouTube. If anyone's out there, thanks for watching. And welcome back to the Let's Do Video live stream. Tim, good to see you. How have you been?
Likewise, all good. Thank you, David. Yourself?
Good, good. Getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah, that came quick, didn't it?
Yeah. And for me, that means just mostly filling the fridge with all the stuff we're going to cook.
Yeah, and putting on a few extra pounds.
So I'm excited for this stream today for a few reasons. One, we have some good stuff to talk about, but the tool we're using, well, two tools we're using. Behind us, we have a Neat board. I've installed the Neat board. We love our friends at Neat. And you, and I didn't initiate this. I'm always pushing Zoom on everyone, right? I'm the Zoom fanboy. But you shared with me a Zoom doc with ideas for what we should talk about today. And it was perfect. I have it right behind us. And it may be a little, it wasn't intended to be used this way, but I really want to show everyone how we're using this. And I mean, I didn't even, we're just going with it because this was what you shared with me. It was good, but I could have edited, I could have added things, I could have put graphics, I could have done so much stuff. But I was just in the normal chat that we always chat in and did the normal Thursday thing. Hey, just checking in to make sure that we're on for tomorrow. And I see a link to a Zoom doc. So what made you think to use this?
Well, I'm just trying out new things, and it makes perfect sense for me, because obviously we're in different time zones. It makes perfect sense for me to sort of try and set something up asynchronously. And I don't want to email documents about or, put in notes in a chat thread. This seems the natural fit for me. And I hope that companies start weaning themselves off the traditional docs and spreadsheets and PowerPoints and start working in this way, because it really does work well across time zones with distributed teams and things like that. So I like this modern way of working. So I'm always keen to try out and test new tools.
I'm going to put on my skeptic hat, and I have my answer for this, but I want to hear your answer for this. You could have just shared me a Google Doc. Google Doc is async. If you put this in a Google Doc, I could see it live when you're making changes and send me an email and say, hey, I sent you an updated Google Doc. So what's the difference of doing this in Zoom other than that?
Well, I mean, the nice thing here is if you've got the paid version of Zoom, you've got AI, which is great. You could enhance a lot of this and it could build out a agenda for you or talking points for you. I think the other thing is as well is this is persistent in the meeting. So every time we go in to schedule these calls, we've got this document that persists over time. So I don't have to send a new link to a Google Doc all the time or delete a previous Google Doc. I could just add a new page to this one. So that's what I like is, as we start doing all these meetings in our organizations, it's where is that recording? Where is that file? Where is that sort of reference URL or something like that? I can have it all within a doc, and it's nice and quick to get back to. So lots of benefits here.
Yeah, for sure. And, one thing, and I don't want to make this whole thing a tutorial about docs. Let's get right into it. But one last thing I should mention is up there's a little button for AI Companion. I really think that this is one of the, big differentiators between this little chatbot friend and ChatGPT and all the other ones I do is that this can see my doc. So I'm clicking now, might be a little too small to see, but summarize this doc. And depending on my connection, it might take a minute because it's happening in the cloud, but it'll give us a summary of this doc. And then I can say, is this a good idea? Is that a good idea? Give me stuff to support this. I can have a whole I'm not going to read it now, but it did it. I can have a whole conversation about this doc. I have a video out about it. I'll put a link below after this is done being live. But let's get into our conversation.
Yeah.
2024 is over?
Pretty much, yes. What? It's over, but the repercussions will be felt for many years afterwards, of course. And yes. While we're looking at future trends, I thought it'd be useful to look retrospectively as to what the industry did in 2024, because there's a difference between a trend and a fad, isn't there? Fads are like fidget spinners. Last year's fad doesn't necessarily mean that there's structural changes in the industry for years to come. But I'm hoping that the points we discuss today are longer trends and not fads.
Yeah, I think there's a trend fad like spectrum, like this. Some things are real, but we always tend to see like, it's completely hype or it's completely amazing. It's somewhere in between. Huddle. There was something to Huddle, but there was a lot of hype with Huddle. Telepresence, there was something to Huddle, but there was a lot of hype. So obviously there's a lot of hype. So we're trying to separate because it's not all hype. This was the year of AI. There's a lot of good uses. And what I love about this docu-show with me, there's a couple of things that are just inarguably real happening now benefits of AI. Not, oh, it can do this, it might do this. The Pollyannas of the AI saying the wonderful things it potentially could do. This stuff is happening. We're talking about the meeting summaries, the task creation stuff. That works now, and it is revolutionary.
Yeah, real-time language translation. There's all sorts of capabilities there that really, really are adding a lot of value now.
Yep, they're good.
And it came very quickly, didn't it, David? I mean, in the case, I would pretty much say, 2024, it sort of came and has been very persistent. There wasn't a lot going on in 2023, really. It just this seems to be the year of AI. We go to all of these presentations and events, and AI is muttered inside the first 15 seconds in keynote presentations. It really has taken the industry by storm, really.
Well, I mean, a lot of this stuff was sort of in place and working and getting better. We had machine learning that was doing this stuff. I am still not when we shifted from machine learning to AI, but we had, we were having meeting summaries. We had background noise reduction, all of that wonderful stuff. But OpenAI and ChatGPT really blew it all up. And there were times when I think, this is a David thing. I get caught up in stuff, but then I read the statistics. It was the fastest growing app in the history of apps. Faster than MySpace, faster than Facebook. Go back as far as you want. Twitter, nothing has grown as fast as ChatGPT. So there is something there, and that brought the excitement about everything else. Not everything we're talking about is that ChatGPT, what we just had here, the Companion 2.0, I can chat with you back and forth experience, but the excitement about that made everything else, to the forefront.
Yeah, and how it's just manifested itself in businesses to become an essential tool, and whether or not you're going to pay for that tool or it's going to be included in your licensing. That's the other big area, of course, which is up for debate in 2025. Yeah. And then, of course, how that spills over into the contact center space, which is incredible because, we've heard things like AI in the enterprise will save you 15 minutes of productivity a week, and that may or may not be quantifiable. You might get two minutes a day, or I might get 2 minutes a day where I might think I'll just have an extra cup of coffee. But that translates to real ROI in the contact center where, your time is measured very carefully, and things like intelligent meeting summarization, the capabilities of chatbots to deal with high volume, low transactional calls, like I need to change, give me a copy of my bill, or I need to change my address. What's the shipping? Tell me when my product is going to ship. All of those sorts of things are really being implemented today and adding a great deal of value, not only for the contact center, but also for the consumer, of course.
Yeah, that's another thing, about that I love about this docu-show with me is, again, I was saying how I want real world examples, things that are happening around, things that the skeptics can't watch us say, this is hype. They have to say, okay, that example's real. And the next thing and I was almost about to interrupt you because I was so excited to get to it, but you were going there anyway, was contact center. Because of all the AI demos that I've seen and all the trade shows I've been to, the contact center stuff is mind blowing. It is, as thinking of myself as someone on the other end of the phone or of the video or whatever, getting the help from the contact center. I want the contact center agents to have this stuff. Thinking as an agent, if I had that as a job, I would need this. I can't imagine doing this job without it. And what really blew my mind is I was expecting this year to be the year of contact center because we had demos leading up from last year to it. I was expecting the assistance that the human agents would get when I'm saying, hey, I'm not happy about this. I had tickets for Friday and now they're canceled. And the AI assistant says, give them free tickets for next week. And I can give you free tickets for next week. I love the little, I don't know if I explained that well, but the little AI helper like Companion helping the agents do a better job saying, no, we can give them this,
Yeah.
Here's the answer to
And
the problem. But what I wasn't expecting was what you got to was the chatbots are good now, not now, but they will be next year. Chatbots, I hate them. Human, agent. Do not let me talk to a chatbot. And now the chatbot helpers, they're this stuff. They're gonna help us. They're gonna understand.
And of course, you've got all sorts of omni-channel capability, like as well as getting SMS, you can get RCS, which gives you these carousels, so you can use it like an interactive mini browser in some cases. So you might call into a contact center and say, what are the options? And they send you an RCS message where it says, leave my Amazon delivery on the porch, the rear porch with a neighbor, and you can just select the one that you want. So there's a lot of great capability, not only on the consumer and agent side, but also on the supervisor. So as a supervisor decades ago, I'd have to listen to calls to gauge for quality. So I'd do agent assessments to see how well they're handling calls. All of that sentiment analysis, all of that call analyzing, all the recording and transcription is automated now. So you're getting automated supervisor capabilities as well. So this whole area is being, I don't think it's, I think we can call it a revolution. It's not an evolution. This is really sort of happening now, and really there should be some great customer experience increases there. Some really great customer experiences to talk about.
Yeah, and unless the demos have me fooled, I'm really excited about this stuff. If it was half as good as it is, it would be revolutionary, because we need help in the contact center. It's a miserable experience for everyone on all sides, and it's just because communicating problems and trying to solve problems in live time and getting the information you need, it's hard. It's not. We blow it off and we say, oh, they're terrible. But it's a hard problem to solve, and this really is solving it, and solving it well. I'm excited about how many less miserable calls I'm gonna have. That's gonna be cut away from my life. I'm gonna have a problem with a company. I'm gonna call them. I'm just gonna get it solved.
I'm waiting for that airline that sets the trend. Instead of having to call, your airline to rebook, it automatically knows that you didn't make that flight, and here are the options, in a message. So I don't have to speak to someone or queue up at the desk or anything like that. I'm just waiting for the one airline industry that sets that trend and watch everyone else fall like dominoes and sort of fall in line to deliver decent experiences.
By the way, that is the bar that we're looking to set. If when I see on Blue Sky or LinkedIn or whatever, someone say, wow, I just had the most amazing experience at the airport. The day I hear that, I know the change has happened, because, that's that industry. What's going on with that? What's been going on in the last 20 years with that industry? I mean, God, it's everyone has miserable experiences at the airport. They just can't figure it out. And if all the stuff talking about solves that, if you start having nice flights, then you could look back at this stream and say, yeah, David and Tim were right.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed on that one.
So let's go into our new topic, our next topic, UC as a service mobility. There is a lot going on there. What do you got for us?
There is, yeah. I mean, if we look at the number of service providers, mobile service providers, for example, that are now adopting Microsoft Teams Mobile and offering a mobile number as an extension to UCaaS without you having to go over the top and use Wi-Fi or your data channel to communicate and collaborate. There's been a big increase in this sort of business mobile convergence. Not only Microsoft Teams Mobile, but also Cisco Webex Go, Tango Networks. There's a whole group of different unified communications vendors that are thinking differently about this. And of course, we're using the mobile network for voice quality and not data channel. You're using a single number. And then the interesting area that I like is exploring what mobile operators are doing with a new API, which is a GSM Open Gateway API called Chimera. Now, that was launched in 2023, but we're seeing a lot of interest and adoption in 2024 through mobile service providers. What does that allow you to do? Well, you can do things like anti-fraud. So a way of verifying your mobile number and knowing your customer, and checking to see if someone is fraudulently swapping SIM cards in an order to freak or in terms of fraud. So there's all sorts of things there that help with anti-fraud. There's things like geolocation and location verification and geofencing with location APIs. And then you can do network quality optimization. So you may want to bump the priority of a call quality for premium customers, for example. You might want to do quality on-demand provisioning. All of these different capabilities are being built into the infrastructure. And what's going to be interesting now is the way in which that will integrate with some of the UC apps. So we're expecting to see a lot of change in that area as well. And of course, as a hybrid worker, it's going to be great because it's not all about working from home or working in the office. It's wherever you have an internet connection. So, or what in this case, where you have a mobile connection. So I expect to see a lot of change, but I think the seeds have been planted in 2024.
I think this is one of, I always talk about, I love the fact that, I'm not going to say the H word, but that we have people working remotely at times now, whatever you want to call it, we have remote work. As much as I love that, and it gives us freedom and we can be more productive and everything we've always said, let us work remotely when it makes sense. There are some problems with it. And this mobility stuff, that is a challenge. I was talking to Kevin Keeler, and he was driving me crazy because he was talking about how he consults for some really big companies. And if you want to work from home and you have a really nice, fast, powerful computer that could do all the stuff at home, you're not allowed to log in with that. You got to bring home the company laptop, push aside your keyboard, push aside your mouse, push aside and use a little dinky laptop to try to do your work, because you're not allowed to work on your device. And so I said, well, hold on. Now what if they're on phones? Am I allowed to use my own phone to check my email? I mean, how bad is this? And it depends on the company. It depends on the policies. It depends on what's working on. But, and this is only a part of what you were talking about, but a small part of it. But the mobility part of our wonderful new remote world has a lot of problems that haven't been solved yet.
Yeah, and I think what we're seeing is there's a decline in corporate responsibility units, mobile phones that enterprises buy for their employees. And there seems to be a bit of an uptick in bring your own device. So the ability to be able to provision the mobile device, and maybe we'll see eSIM being the driving force behind this. You don't need these little physical pieces of plastic that you have to get the little, paper clip out, push out the tray, put it all in. You've got to have the deftness of a surgeon to be able to put those darn nano cards back into your phone. But you can provision it over the air with eSIM. So what we are likely to see is eSIM coming together with business mobile convergence, Chimera with the infrastructure, and UC, all making the experience much better for mobile workers.
Nice. All right, let's tie into our last topic. And contact center really has been a big story in our industry here. We're talking about it again here, but I'll let you start because, again, I'm excited. I'll go on about this.
Yeah, of course. Unification, or what we tend to call it Omdia multicas. So multiple as a service offerings coming together as one on one single platform. So this is unified communications and contact center coming together to integrate the back office with the front office. And now this is great because it sort of helps the front office agents improve the customer experience, because what they can do is take a call. They need to pass it to a subject matter expert or someone to chase up in ordering, what's happening with this person's order. You can integrate the front office with the back office, same platform, same statistics in some cases, same sort of licensing across the board. It's improving the employee experience and the customer experience together on a single platform. And that's great because you can leverage a lot of the AI capabilities across the whole of that case, and be able to provide call summaries and follow-ups and disposition codes and all those sorts of things across the whole enterprise. So everyone gets a look in at the customer record. It's not just the domain of the contact center. Agents can talk to back office. It makes sense. And what's driving this is things like cost savings and all the operational efficiencies of, I don't have to just register a case on ServiceNow or my CRM database and then pass it over to the back office. I can handle that all hopefully in one call. So, single call resolution, front office, back office, efficiencies there and cost savings.
Now, it might not sound like the most exciting thing, but the way that I came across it really was exciting for me because, contact center entered my space and I was kind of a little grumpy about it because I like covering fun stuff. I want to cover, new cameras that have new capabilities and new, AI technologies. And contact center is the most miserable thing on the planet. And now I have to start covering it because when I go to the trade shows, everyone's doing contact. Why is everyone doing contact center in my industry? Oh, because you're all good at passing data around the internet. Okay, fine. But what clicked for me, a few things clicked for me that made me think, okay, I'm all in on contact center. Some of it is what we've been talking about before, the way AI works with it. But when Zoom said they're doing contact center, I'm like, okay, Zoom's going to do contact center. I guess they're good at pushing audio and data through. And they showed us their demo of it. I'm like, okay, it looks like a nice. Actually, I could see myself working at a contact center clicking on this. But then I realized it was in Zoom Workplace. Look what's behind me. See, right here is the tab for Zoom Docs. And I'm not going to click, I don't want to mess things up, but here's Team Chat. If I click here, you'll see what Tim and I have been chatting about. And I have my calendar and I have my email. And if I worked at a contact center, there'd be a tab here. There'd be a tab right there for the contact center. And that's where I would do my job. I wouldn't have to open up another app or anything. And everything Tim was talking about, something in the contact center, I have a question. I better go to Team Chat and ask my boss. I don't have to get up from my desk. I don't have to switch apps. It's all, and not just, it's easy for me to switch back and forth. The AI is all wrapped up in it.
Yeah. So looking at the AI, so David, say for example, I'm the agent. I don't have to type all my notes because it's going to do a meeting or a call summarization. Imagine that then gets passed off to the back office, because I don't know if you've been on calls. Sometimes you get dead air for a minute because the agent is explaining to their colleague in the back office, oh yeah, David phoned in, he's got a problem with his guitar, blah, 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 blah. You can transfer all of that summary into the back office so that they get to read it very quickly before taking the call. So it's much nicer than hanging on and listening to Greensleeves or some weird, music in the background, elevator music, Kenny G or whatever, while you're put on hold while the agent explains to their colleague what's going on. So, I mean, lots of efficiencies there, much better customer experience, very exciting times, I think.
And giving Zoom credit, but not to give Zoom too much credit, because we're using this as an example. I have it up here behind me, but this is a trend that Tim's talking about. They all do this now, or a lot of them do this now. This isn't a Zoom thing. This is a trend in the industry thing, the convergence of
RingCentral, Cisco, they're all looking at this intermedia. The one thing that is very different, though, is Microsoft Teams. So if you remember, Microsoft Teams had voice-enabled call queuing as standard. That then is now a premium offering, and they've got voice queues or the Queues app. And then, unfortunately, if you want to have omni-channel experience, you have to re-platform and go to Dynamics 365 Contact Center. So Microsoft have got some work to do here, because, if you want to add chat, you want to add social as a channel into Teams, you can't do that. You have to re-platform on Dynamics Contact Center. So it'd be interesting. Some do it better than others. Microsoft don't do it at all. I could probably be bold enough to say that. So expect a lot of changes in this area, but there are some companies that are leading from the front.
Yeah, it's definitely a new thing, and I think we did such a good job this show in our wrap up. There's so many fun, crazy, wild, sexy AI things we talked about, but we really kept it to real things that are affecting our industry and that are in place. And this is one of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Instagram filters or avatars or anything like that. I like to work in the real world. I'm not sure that, well, I don't know. Let us know if this could be improved by having an avatar for me, but I'm hoping it won't be.
I like some, Kevin and I, we have our AI chef's hat when we're doing our AI chef. So a little bit of that stuff is fun, but that's fun. That's not the real value. I think what we covered today is the real value.
I hope so.
So anything else you want to share before we wrap it up?
No. Well, only wishing all of our viewers happy holidays. David, as always, it's been a pleasure working with you through 2024, and I can't wait to do the same thing again in 2025.
I feel like this has been like the energy's been building this year for us, for Let's Do Video, for the industry. I think next year is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. I need a button for my closing. Oh, I have one. All right. See you in a couple weeks, everyone. Take care.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
I always forget that I have a button for that. It's so convenient.